Hey everybody, welcome to Smashing Heads Podcast. This is going to be episode 8.5. We sat down with the one and only Shane Landrum because clearly this last episode was about him, and before we could do any sort of introductions or anything like that, he kind of introduced himself and introduced the show, and we just got rolling. So, if you're new to the show, my name is Zach. I'm joined by my co-host Jake.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Our other co-host, Hannah, which is my wife, she's not here right now. Me and Jake are both recording remotely from our laptops, so that's why the audio quality is not what our show normally has. And so
it also makes it semi-boys night.
Semi-boys night for sure. And we just we wanted to just record really quickly up front to let you guys know if you're new here. We do weekly recap shows every Tuesday night after the new episodes premiere on MTV, and those go up that night. And then from there, we do these interviews just kind of as they come, and we have a handful in the works that aren't announced yet. So we'll announce those once we get some more details worked out. And if you haven't listened, we've interviewed Cam Williams, Marie Rhoda, Brandon Drake Nelson, and so go check those out. You know, we'll be back next Tuesday with a new weekly show. And before anything else, I just wanted to say welcome to the show, and we hope you enjoy Shane as much as we enjoyed recording with him.
He was a really good time. I think you guys will enjoy it.
Yep, even if you're here because you hate him and you just want to pile on the hate, I think you'll come away with this with a little bit more of an understanding for what he does and that he is a normal person just like anyone else. So without any further ado, here's Shane.
Wait.
What? Oh, okay.
Have a good night, everyone.
Here's Shane.
I like that. He's calling the shots.
Hey
we
guys.
should get started.
Hey guys, this is Shane, and welcome to
you're gonna intro
Smashing
yourself.
Heads.
Yeah, you're going to intro yourself. You're the first one to do that.
Oh, I think that'd be really funny if we did that, though.
He just did.
I just did it.
We're
Okay.
recording.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so
I want to invite all of the listeners. Listen, these guys, they're actually one of my favorite challenge podcasts. There's a few others that I enjoy, but when this one gets posted, it's the first one I go to. So, Smashing Heads, cheers to you.
that means a lot to us.
That is
It really does. It's really cool.
We just got put over by Shane. Do you realize how big of a deal that is? And by the way, Shane, do you watch wrestling? I have to ask everybody.
I was a huge fan of wrestling as a child. I was a Sting fan before Sting went.
Yes.
That's my guy. Yeah.
He was my guy, but then he went super what's sort of emo. So then he turned into like this version of the Undertaker, and I was
He was like the Crow.
exactly the Crow. So but before he was the Crow, though, he was
He was
this
like California
bright blonde
colors.
hair and
Yep.
lime green, and oh my god, I was obsessed with him. I had this little boy crush on him. So, but I came from the generation of Roddy Piper, Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
So Sting started like right when I kind of gayed out into Jim and the Holograms. So, so sorry. Actually, Darrell is calling me right now as we speak.
That's
How about
fine. He
that?
probably won't want to be on here.
Yeah, no. Let me just y'all talk, and I'm gonna text him real quick.
Yeah, we'll cut this out.
I
Cool.
had to say I'm a big fan of Shane being a wrestling fan.
I think it's
So
funny.
so Jake, that's why I appreciate when you talk and you share on the podcast, because you understand that this show, wrestling is a soap opera in addition to the physical components to it, and the challenge is the same thing. It is a soap opera. There's a story. It spans decades, and there's more to this show than just these challenges and these fighting. And you're one of the few people on all of the podcasts who understands it and appreciates it. So that's why I really like whenever you give your 2 cents, because it actually, just from a viewer standpoint, you get it. And so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that's what we liked kind of about our viewpoints is that, again, our dynamic is me and Jake have known each other forever, and obviously Hannah's newer to the show, but he's got I don't have a wrestling background, so I didn't grow up watching it. I was a fan of Sting because everyone in the 90s was,
Yeah.
and but yeah, he gets that side of it. So this season, as you know, because again, you listen, he's been fine with the pacing, and I have been a little bit more impatient with the editing and all that, but again, if you go back to, some of the early seasons, they're doing a daily and an elimination in 30 minutes.
You're right, they are.
It's weird. Like it's going back and watching those is really strange.
Well, I'm definitely not saying that the viewers are wrong, that they need more than just the drama. Listen, they don't. you need a challenge, you need the elimination, or you need some sort of components that at least is more than just what the first bits of this challenge was. But just like Marie said, there was important stories that had to be told that will make sense as the show goes on. And you're already seeing those stories unfold. And I promise you, the twists and turns, it's going to blow your mind the way that this goes and ends. And you have to know why to get there. And so now you're starting to bear fruit, and it's just going to be more and more. That's all I can really say.
You know what this reminds me of is, when you're in a relationship, you try to convince them of, one certain thing, and they won't listen. And then some random Joe comes in from the street, and then they're all of a sudden like, you know what, you're right. Because I've been saying this, and now you're saying it, and they agree. So I appreciate your validation of what I've been saying.
Yeah, my issue was I just didn't want it to be every
episode.
every 4 weeks, and then we finally get an elimination or something like that. Because I know this season's going to span a long time.
Well, the problem is, first of all, the season will span a long time. And I don't know if it was Marie that said this or if this was just a thought in my head, but we are a really spoiled generation. We want everything now. And
that is true.
And we want this. The problem is it's and I talked to me and Nicole run an IG live that we do usually every Wednesday at 3:00.
I've watched a little bit of them. Yeah.
Yeah, they get old. I mean, it's hard sometimes because we'll go off in tangents and, unlike you, I can't fast forward. I can fast forward you guys. You can't fast forward my IG live. So people just step out. But I don't fast forward you guys. I just hit the 15-second thing. I'm like, I'll move to the next little bit. But what was I going to say? So we think that we're not getting what we want. But the reality is there's no pleasing people when you're a show that's a series that airs once a week, when everyone's used to having everything all at once. So that's part of the problem, is that people aren't smart enough or just don't think deeply enough to recognize that. Like, oh, I just want more, and so because I'm not getting more, I'm going to throw a big fit about what I did get because it wasn't what I wanted. When the reality is there was no way to solve this problem because it's not the whole season. So
I kind of get that Hannah? with everybody is so accustomed nowadays to binge watching on Netflix and Hulu and stuff like that. It is kind of, I guess, if you're used to doing stuff like that, especially with the challenge previous seasons, you can watch on MTV.com and watch episode after episode after episode.
We do that.
And, we do that. And then we come in for the current season and we watch one episode once a week. And it is, I have noticed, a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Especially for the episodes that are a little more dramatic, kind of forward thinking and stuff like that. And so but I mean, the last couple of weeks, especially since we talked to Marie about it, she said that it was all going to kind of start to tie together, and it was going to make more sense why the first couple of episodes of this season were so focused on the history between people, and it is starting to make sense, and things are starting to unfold, especially this past week. I love this past week's episode.
I think this last 2 weeks have been the best 2 episodes for sure to me.
Well, thank you.
They've been very entertaining.
They have been very
one featured me. I appreciate that. Well, I know that there's crazy people that listen. I just want to say to you people, I'm not justifying the fact that there's not a challenge and elimination. I agree with you. It should be challenge, drama, elimination, or something of that component. But there isn't. But the reason why we're upset about it is, in addition to what we're getting, it's not the immediacy of like everything happening all at once. So anyways,
I agree.
I already have people on Reddit. I have people on Reddit mad at me. So the last thing I want to do is like really piss them off by saying they're wrong about something else.
Push them over the edge.
I have a whole list of questions from Reddit.
Well, let's do it. Let's get into it because that's why we're here, and let's do this.
So legitimately, one of the questions from Reddit was, why do you not like the subreddit very much?
The problem is and somehow I turned Vevmo against me too. So I don't even know what I've done, but I've actually never said that I do like some of them, but I should just join the subreddit so I can really like, hey guys, but I would never tell anyone who I was. In general,
So you'd be like incognito.
Yeah, exactly. And I haven't even got to the part where I've started to pinpoint names. Like, I can see you when you post sometimes. Like, I know it's you talking. Like, I've yet to pick out who's who, but I'm slowly matching people's Twitter profiles to the Reddit profiles, like, because I'm bored sometimes, and I do that for fun. But they have their clear favorites. They have their clear people that they hate. And it's kind of like, it's not a fan group anymore. It's a group of miserable people who enjoy being miserable together. And that's the difference between, and I'm not saying Vevmo is better or worse, but when you go to the Vevmo page, they're celebrating their favorite characters, and on Reddit, it's like they're like enjoying trashing people. And they're not great at, and for instance, in particular, if Natalie or Kara were to post an IG Live, there would be a breakdown of every thing that she said, and they would they would go behind the scenes and the million times that I've tried to explain to people like the thoughts and the processes and like that I'm not a crazy person. There's actually intelligence behind the things that I do. It never makes it on Reddit. It's never like there's not one person who wants to go on there and say like, oh, maybe that there's something bigger here than we're not understanding. So it's simply a matter of fact, like, you don't like me, so I don't like you. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, and like I'm the one of us three that does the Reddit posting. Like they don't mess with it, and so I get where you're coming from. And I wasn't a big part of that community before we started this podcast. Like I'd read it every so often, but obviously I have more of a vested interest to like put our opinions out there now. And, there even a lot of the subreddit itself has like, why is it so toxic now? It used to not be like this.
They've driven away all the fun people that used to post there. I read Reddit, not just the challenge Reddit, but I read Reddit it's like one of my favorite websites. Like it's where I get all the information. It's where I look for everything. Like I just really enjoy Reddit. And so I've seen whoever changed Reddit, I've seen it happen. And it's like, these guys who want to watch people beat each other up, and they only like one component of the challenge, and they only like the people who contribute to that component of the challenge, and that's it. So yeah,
it is strange. Like I try not to be like negative on there, except for Derek. Anytime he's brought up, I'm just like, he's done nothing to prove he's good at anything challenge related. But I mean, yeah, for the most part, it is. There's a lot of negativity. There's some really cool people on there too that have good opinions and all that. But it's a lot harder to find those people than it is everyone jumping on bandwagons of just kind of really petty, hateful things. And I got in trouble for calling him out one time, just joking around with another interview. And clearly, I don't mean that all of Reddit is toxic, but there are people on there that are. I mean, it is what it is. It's the same way on Twitter and Facebook and everything else.
Oh, yeah. Well, at the end of the day, I enjoy reading the Reddit, and there's really great threads on there, and I think that I enjoy those things. But it's reached a point where it's more toxic than fun, and it used to be more fun than toxic. And so I think that whoever's in charge of that, the moderators or whoever it is, they need to clean it up, because the whole point of it is a place for fans to come together and talk about something they enjoy. And it sounds like a bunch of people plotting murder. So we'll just leave it at that.
I think what I've realized is because I've never been a message board guy. It's just not really my thing. And then, of course,
it's where you find the best porn, Jake. It's where you find the best porn on the message board.
So I'll keep that logged in the back of my head. But no, what I've realized is that, man, there's so much like predetermined mindsets now. Like, I figured out, like, God forbid. So we've been pretty invested in Cara this season and just this weird transformation. And it's like, God forbid we say anything. And we haven't attacked the girl's character at all. And I think that goes for like anybody. Like, I know there's banana stands out there, car stands, like all different people. And there's just no reasoning. And the thing I've figured out is there is just so many unreasonable people that you just cannot come to any sort of resolution with. It's just, I'm going to argue with you at all times I hate your guts. It doesn't matter what you say. And it's just bizarre. Like, it makes me kind of glad I've never gotten into the whole message board scene.
Well, yeah, Twitter stan is a little different than even like message board stuff to me. But yeah, I've discovered the mute button in the last like week and a half. And
Oh my God, it's amazing.
it is so good because they don't know they're muted, and we don't see them, but they can still read our stuff. Because if they got blocked, they would feel like, oh, we did it, we got them riled up. So.
You
well,
have no
they might
idea.
have an idea
Yeah,
now.
I mean,
Yeah.
you probably
Just told.
experienced that to a way higher degree than what we do.
Well, I follow cast members and then I mute them. So like that's what I do. Like,
One
that way they have no idea I really don't care about
yeah,
them.
that's funny.
that is funny. Another question. Someone was wanting to know.
And let's honestly,
what's up?
your guys' questions are more important to me than these people's questions.
Well,
So-
I'm not bringing up everyone's questions. I'm just going to
Okay,
do ones
cool.
that
The
were
good
kind
ones.
of that
Alright.
kind of stuck out to me, not strung out to me.
okay, cool.
Strung out.
Someone just asked, what you do with your life outside of the show, and do you have a job, career, or is the challenge your payroll, and you just kind of hang out otherwise? And what my response to them was, I was Googling how to spell your name just because I wanted to make sure I spelled it right for the little flyer thing, and one of those autofill things came up, and it was like Shane Landrum net worth, and I was like, let's click on it. It said you were $69 million, which.
That's not true.
That'd be great if you were, but
Wow, that's a lot.
No, there's another Shane Landrum.
But it had
He's
your
a-
picture and it had your
no
birthday
way,
and all that.
really?
Yeah, and I was wondering if it was a mismatch. Yeah.
Let's see.
So are
I'm
you
not-
a secret
listen.
millionaire?
No, I'm barely a thousandaire, if that.
So where are you living at now?
Okay, so let me just let everyone know, first of all, like if you Google me online, all the information about me is wrong. I'm actually older than Johnny. I'm 37. My birthday is May 5th, 1981. So I'm definitely as old as people say that I need to calm down and stop acting like a teenager. You know what? As Brad says, I grow down, I don't grow up. And that's the reality. I was born in Savannah, Georgia, not Boston, as Ozza says. I'm definitely not worth millions. When it comes to the show and my job, I worked in sales for a really long time, and that's where I have me and Marie have similar personalities and similar attitudes, and we approach people the same way because we're born salesmen. And when you work in sales, you tend to get aggressive and you tend to try and get your way, and it's a second-hand habit that picks up. And so that's what I do outside of the show. Now, the show has been filming so much and so recently.
Yeah, it's a
I
lot.
did leave. Yeah, I left my sales job. I just filmed 3 shows over the course of like 6 months. So, so I haven't worked since the last show, but now I'm trying to figure it out. So we'll see what I do.
Okay, so where are you at now? Are you is it North Carolina?
No, I went
Okay.
to Chapel Hill, but I live in DC.
Okay,
So I
yeah.
live in-
Yeah, I went to DC about 2 years ago. I liked it up there.
It's a great city. It actually was not. So when I went to Chapel Hill. I was 20 years old when I first got casted, and I was also a military kid. So I'd grown up moving every 2 years.
Oh yeah.
And so a lot of my what I don't think they're flaws, but a lot of my personality stems from the fact that I never really knew how to make long-term friends because I was constantly moving. And so it was really like I was a quick flash in the pan. So I had to be like really quick, connect with people. And then I never kind of paid the price for the way that I treated people because I walked out.
You're out of there, yeah.
Exactly. And so in college, I had to learn how to make friends and all that sort of stuff like real people do. But I got casted on this show, and so I was really carefree. I didn't really so I was very devil may care. And so after the show, all of the gay community in my college hated me. So, which is no shocker. So they all moved to DC. So I was like, this. I moved to Chicago, and I moved to Chicago. I had the best time of my life. I love the Midwest. And then I decided on a whim to move to DC because my parents lived here, and I'm so happy I'm here. And it's one of the greatest cities, and it's so much better than even the tourists and the people who visit. So it's so weird in America. We talk about, all these different cities like New Orleans or LA or Chicago or New York and DC, it's like, it's really a diamond. So
Yeah, DC was
visit
cool.
and have fun.
I'd never been there before.
I still haven't ever been. I've always wanted to go.
Well, Hannah, come on.
I know. Zachary,
bring your boy.
you need to take me
Okay.
to the DC.
That's fine. We can. I'm not against it.
So do you like being closer to your parents now?
I do. I appreciate it. They, because they were military and because I was moving too, I would always say to my friends, like, I was like, I'm so jealous of you. Like, you can go have a sandwich at your mom's house and it's no big deal. Like, for me, I always had to like fly and then I get a week a year with my parents during my vacation. So this is like it's great because, they're older, I'm older. So I'm really happy. Yeah.
That's nice.
I am going to ask one or two more things from Reddit because there's some good ones
Ask
that have
away.
been brought
I
up.
love it. I love talking about myself. You have no idea.
Okay. Well, you're going to love this interview. So one of them was, you said you were 19 or 20 when you got casted.
Yeah.
And then I think our stat checker, Paul, told us you had the longest break of any cast member.
I have the record.
Yeah.
I thought it was 11 years, but I think it's just 9 years.
Yeah, I think Paul said 9. But yeah, the thing was, some people were saying, when you came on the show to begin with, you seemed one way, a little bit more low key, as far as you just were kind of hanging out with everyone, and then now, you are going out of your way to be manipulative and whatever. And it wasn't a knock against that. They were saying, I actually prefer this side of things. But was that a conscious choice, or was that just life, molding you the way you are?
You just lied to me because I've read the same comments and they don't like.
I promise you. I promise you. Look,
Boy, he got you.
it says, and to be clear, I find this version of Shane more entertaining than the first incarnation.
Okay, well, I think I will say, okay, I appreciate you reading that specific question.
That was the one that was upvoted the most.
Yeah, all right. So the reality is I've actually always been pretty abrasive. They have edited me. I've had a great edit, and this is credit to Beanham and Murray. They didn't. It wasn't necessarily a gay agenda, but they definitely were the forefronters of pushing like gay people are just like me and you. And they really told the stories of the gay characters in a way that people could connect to them. So there was always this sort of safety net that I existed in, and so what I can say is like, I have changed a little bit. I'm a little bit more than I used to be. But this has always been a component to my personality. Now, the difference is this. On my original show and in my real life, I'm actually loved for it. I'm one of those people that people love to be around me because I am a pretty straight shooter. I tell it how it is. And if I up, I apologize, and I try my best to move forward. Like, it's not like I'm sitting here thinking I'm not a vindictive. Okay, I am vindictive and I am malicious, so I'm just gonna hold that back. But I don't go out of my way to hold. I'm willing to forgive. Like, if I'm willing to give people second chances. So it's. So I don't even know where I was going with that, but
you're not a monster.
Help me. Exactly, I'm not a monster. My friends love me, and people on the show love me. Now, what people are seeing differently is like, they're seeing the edited version of the people who don't like me. So, and they're seeing how mean and vindictive and out of my way I can go about things. And that's also who I am. I'm not doing it for TV, I promise. I'm doing it because that's who I am. Like, that's that. So
And
I guess I'm
that's
a really
okay.
percent to people. Well,
I think it's really cool that even if it can show you in a bit of a negative light, you being yourself and not holding anything back is something I have always wanted to be like that. I am such
Hannah,
a people
it'll
pleaser.
happen.
People pleaser.
I am so. Probably my biggest fear in life is hurting someone's feelings or making them feel bad in any kind of way. So like, I will hold my tongue. I will lie to them to make them feel better.
Yeah, it's not a good trait necessarily.
Hannah, let's talk about this real quick, because that's actually why I've changed as a human being. I was raised in a military family, And I was also raised to not be a gay kid, even though I was very much struggling to identify and show people that this was my reality. This is who I am. I was born this way. The first time I learned the word, I used it at age 6. So I was taught as a young age that like my thoughts, my ideas weren't important. It was so important to fit in and to be a people pleaser. And so I know exactly what you go through because I struggle with it myself. And that's why I push so strongly to try and be authentic, specifically when it comes to the show and the first few seasons that I was on the show before my break. I really was struggling to be this idealized person and to get along with people when in reality I was really angry and there was a lot that I was really gay and I needed to be gay and not be this sort of straight acting gay and all these things. So when I did get the chance to come back, because I never got to enjoy my experience on these shows because I was so tense and so tight and so worried about how I'd be perceived, I made a promise to myself, like, I'm casted on this show because of who I am, and I'm going to do it and be authentic in it versus be someone wants me to be, that people pleaser. And so I struggle with that, and I understand what it feels like.
Well, I really appreciate you being authentic and unfiltered for us.
So you can join me in the debauchery. You know?
I think that's why you're so. And look, everybody on this show has their haters, and quite a few of them. But I think that's why you're such a beloved character, if you will, is because whether it's a wink and a nod at the camera or a smile the entire time you're into it with Jozea, like you're real about it, like you're confident about it, like you know who you are, and that's just what it is. And like, you know, that's something that I think we've all come to really appreciate, you know.
Thank you, Jake.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
I remember you, again, you've listened. Me and Jake started watching a long time ago. I remember you back then, but I don't remember you like trying to like mastermind, like, you know, be manipulative and whatever. But to me, it makes better TV. I mean, it just is what it is.
Thank you.
Again, the whole helmet situation is like my favorite arc of the season so far. Because like you just embraced it and you're like, I'm not insecure. I don't care.
I planned that. So I planned the helmet. I told Marie before the first day, because Marie, like, I FaceTime Marie every day. So Marie had met the helmet way before the show had even met the helmet, because that's my favorite time to talk on the phone, because I have to sit still for 30 minutes anyways. So, and the reason why I had to fold the ear flaps actually muffle noise. So you have to fold them up so you can hear when people are yelling at you or talking to you. So I told Maria, I was like, I'm bringing the helmet. And she was like, no, you're not. And I'm like, oh, I'm bringing the helmet. And then she was like, why? And I was like, because I'm going to get in a fight in it. Like, that's the whole point. Like, I want this to happen so bad. I know it's going to be great TV. And then, so I had been waiting for that moment because I knew that I really had hoped that I would be wearing it and someone would approach me and I would be like, but so when Johnny said, mentioned the helmet, you should have seen, like, in my heart, the joy was so big that I was like, thank you. I will go get that helmet and I'm going to destroy it. So that scene was actually edited. The way that it broke down in real life was we fought, and then it ended with me saying, like, you're self-conscious because of the fact that the very last scene where I'm not in the helmet and I'm screaming at Johnny, like, he goes, you're insecure. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm insecure. And I go, and then my immediate response to him saying that was like, you're insecure because you don't have any people here. You're shaking in your boots or whatever. That's when he goes, as Nelson grabs me, he's pulling me into the room and he goes, go get your helmet. And I look at Nelson and I say, get my helmet. That's me talking to Nelson, actually. And Nelson immediately lets me go. And he goes, go have fun. And so I come back into the room with the helmet on, or back into the closet, because that's what it was. And I start from the beginning of the fight to the end of the fight wearing the helmet. So I just rehash the whole thing, and then I walk away. And so they spliced the no helmet with the helmet with the no helmet.
I did notice that.
Yeah.
So
that's how it went.
It's funny that you mentioned that about the ears, how when they're down, it muffles sound. So was that intentional with Johnny? So if he started to come back at you, you would just kind of block him out?
No. If you look at the picture, the ears are flopping weird, and so I could hear him when he, because I love the art of a good argument, and I mean, Davon, when she says he must get pleasure from it, she's absolutely right. I think a good argument is one of the greatest joys in the world, especially with people that you kind of have, like, you disdain them. So this goes back to the whole people pleaser thing.
Especially if you know you're right. I mean,
thank you. Like, and for me, like, I have to reach a breaking point to tell you exactly what I think. And that's why I mouth off so much, is because I hold it. And I'm a grumpy old man. So I'm noticing stuff. Like, I'm sitting in my mind just writing, oh, that nuh-uh, da. And so then I get pushed to that breaking point, which is very easy to do, actually. It's just short temper, so sad. And so that's when I just like, all right, let's pull out this the receipts, and I'm just gonna go down my checklist that I've been holding back in return. So so I do enjoy it, and I don't know where I was going with that. So that's
it made my heart so full of joy when you put the helmet on to yell at Johnny.
Yeah.
Like, I got so excited.
When we were coming up with a name for the episode, she wanted to use something based around the helmet.
Yeah.
Really bad.
We almost called it like Captain Helmet or something like that. They played like superhero music behind you.
Oh, it was amazing. They edited it so good. And you should have seen so when you're the talking head, when you're in the interviewer room.
Yeah.
Like the director who was interviewing me was so excited. He was like, we have to, like, he's like, will you go get the helmet? Can we shoot in the helmet? Can we do this? I was like, I don't care. We can do anything you want, like, in the helmet. And he was like, he was just so happy because he'd worked on reality television for so long, and he probably already knew where he was going with the story. And he was like, oh my God, this is the best thing that's ever happened.
Well, just
so I felt so good.
just so our listeners know, when we first started talking to you, we've been talking to you for weeks now, and we asked you when would be a good time for you to come on. You're like, after episode 8.
This show. Yeah.
So I was like, hey, I'm going to make a thumbnail for it. I was like, can I please? I was thinking of using like the laser helmet as the picture. And you're like, oh, please use that one. And from then on out, I was like, we're going to get along with him just fine.
Just great.
I went back. I went back and watched it on MTV and then like screenshotted a couple of them and picked my favorite. And I've seen that same little screenshot now like all over.
Someone turned one of the screenshots, so probably was you, that took it into a cartoon.
Yeah, that was the picture that I took and cropped. Somebody cartooned it or whatever.
We have a text chat amongst my family, and so everyone watches the show at their own house or whatever. And like the second that the hair helmet, because everyone in my family knows about the hair helmet, the second that it made the television show, my family text blew up into, it was complete mayhem. And they were like, I can't believe I'm related to you. You're ridiculous. Like, I can't believe this. My mom was the biggest fan. And let me tell you guys this about the hair helmet. If you are losing hair, I make no money from this. I make $0. It absolutely works. It's not unreal.
I know you asked production, and they're like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so I just know from a fact of, like, I can feel it, I see it. It's definitely the case. But production did not want to give me a compliment about the hair or anything like that. Yeah. So since we're talking about all these fights, can I just get into why, so that people don't think, like, because people like this, for right now it sounds like, oh yeah, he brought that helmet, he is just doing this all for television. And so I really want to get into the fact, like,
go
these arguments that I have with people, they are real, they're not for television, and I want people to understand where I'm coming from. And then, like, some things I do for television, like the hair helmet, like bringing the hair helmet. I knew it would be funny. So the Davon fight, to get into this, first of all, if you actually watch the show, tons of people use the word bitch to describe each other. It's not just me, right?
If you go back and watch like The Island and some of those, like Johnny and some of them are dropping it like
pretty terrible.
Well, even this season, Davon's used it, Cam's used it, Josea's used it, Angela's used it, Marie's used it. It's a very common word in our society now. But that does not excuse the fact that I offended someone by using the word. And so I want to apologize. If this was a normal day-to-day life and I called someone a bitch in passing, which I actually didn't do in that situation, but I offended someone, I would apologize for it. But fighting on a show, so what people don't understand is you saw this episode and it looked like I was going out of my way to get Devon and Jose to vote in a way that would just help me and had no benefit to them. The reality was I had the conversation with Zach earlier. Zach had told me that he was voting for Jose and Devon. So that's 2 votes right there because they were the power team. The Lavender ladies all were thinking that they were going to vote Jose and Devon. And I was like, well, listen, I think Jose and Devon will work with us. It's important. I really wanted to save Jose because I felt bad for what happened on Champs vs. Stars. I felt like he deserved a chance. In addition to that, Devon and I had been becoming what I thought at the time would be best friends. We were spending a lot of time together. We had a very strong connection. The girls, they wanted nothing to do with it. They were like, we will not vote to save them or vote them in. So that's that. So I was like, okay. So I talked to Nelson and I said, Nelson, like, I think we should try and save Jose and Devon. If we can save them, I hear they're going in because in addition to Zach and Amanda saying they were going to vote for them, Tony and Bananas and Kyle and Brad in the hot tub, I had been told that they were planning on voting for a rookie team. And Tony and Banana said specifically Jose and Devon. So I went to the room, which was Devon, Jose, Cara, and Tori. And Tori and I were friends, and Devon and I were friends. And I was like, hey, guys, I've heard that Jose and Devon have at least 3 votes. Tony and Bananas and Zach and Amanda. I was like, if the 4 of us as a group of people vote for Faith and Angela, because it's the only person that group would agree to vote for, I said, if the group of us can vote for them, that's 4 votes. So that means that they choose me or you 3, and they have to go against you. But that means that Jose and Devon have a better chance of surviving. That's all I said. And they go, oh, that's great. That's great. That's great. Devon's like, we're good friends. High five. We're all good. Right? Mm-hmm. So Tori and I specifically say, hey, we're tired of playing a game. Like, let's stand together. Like, we thought we had made this great alliance of people that were just going to stand tall and fight for their way to be to the end. I heard through the grapevine that Jose and Devon were planning to not vote for Faith and Angela. They had this whole plan behind the back that they were going to trick us. They were specifically trying to trick Cara, Tori, and me. So I went to the gym and I said, and that's what people see on the show. I say,
you talk to them,
Yeah, I was like, hey guys, like, you're voting for Faith and Angela. Like, we're doing this for you. We're not doing this for us. Like, it's about you. And that's why Devon says he's scared, because I'm realizing they're trying to F us over. So at the end of the day, I say to Nelson, I don't really care. I think it's important to like try and support these guys. And if we do it, we do it. Well, what happens is Devon goes to the room and finds out that Cara didn't vote for Faith and Angela. So she gets mad that her plan to trick us into going against Faith and Angela didn't work. And so she starts getting mad at Cara. And that's when you see me rolling my eyes, because I'm like, is she crazy right now? Like, she didn't even vote for Faith and Angela, and now she's mad at Cara for voting for Faith and Angela. So I walk away, talk to Amanda. I hear from Amanda that we start calculating votes, and I figure out it's Tori. So I go to tell Tori, and so at this point, my heart's broken because Tori is so great, such a great person, and she really believed in Jose and Devon. So I go to Tori and I break the bad news to her. I'm like, hey, I've heard that the votes are breaking down and you're going in. And so at that point is when I walk into the room and they start this attack that I'm stupid, that I got played, and like that's where the whole like, I can do what I want and I can play the game better than you and I'm smarter than you. And so I'm like, so it was me responding to being attacked. And I was like, if you think that I wanted you to vote this way for me, you're insane and a bitch, and you actually catch that there. Now, was it right to say that? Yes or no? But so
yeah, that's where that scene started, I think, for the TV.
I'm not mad. It wasn't some master plan to get Faith and it was literally I was trying to save Faith and Angela. And so Devon and I's fight was me like having a broken heart that this person, and she's like, you're Shady Shane and da 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 da. And I was like, I created the nickname Shady Shane. Like, I'm very proud of that name. Like, so, and that's the difference between what you see on TV versus what happens in real life. If I was as shady and as sneaky as I am on this TV show, I would have nobody in alliance with me, like no one. Yet if you actually do the math and the numbers, I'm sitting pretty.
Yeah,
so obviously there's something different than what people are saying and what people are experiencing.
Well, like, yeah, that's one thing I've been seeing, like, as the last episode has happened, is some people are like, is that Lavender Ladies group, like, is that too big of an alliance? Because, like, they have control right now, and they're going to have to start turning on each other eventually, which I'm sure we'll get into at some point.
But not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Which will be good TV as well, so...
That will make amazing TV.
Yeah, that we've kind of speculated on other seasons, and I think Jake may have brought up before, I can't remember, but if they did a season of like best friends where
that would be great.
Yeah, instead of rivals or exes or something, because when those fights happen, like those are real fights, like those are like deep seated things,
and they pull out deep secrets that TV doesn't need to see or hear yet.
Well, I heard your podcast about this, and I agree. But they have to find a way to turn the friends against each other.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. And so what's interesting is because of this vendetta situation, there's too many people who can't like work against other people because of the partnerships. Zach and Amanda, the biggest example of that. Like, they have the most connections out of everyone in the house at the moment because they're all connected. And so no one can make a move against them, but normally they'd be able to make moves against each other. So somehow it has to be a contest that's focused around best friends, but we have to figure out a way to make the best friends turn on each other. And that would be great TV. Oh my God. I would die.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that would probably be one of my favorite seasons.
Yeah. Well, this is what I was thinking if they were to do that. It would be teams of 4 or it would be just teams of 2, and then the best friends have to vote each other off. And so it's somewhat like, have you ever read the book The Lottery? The Lottery is this book. Oh gosh. Okay. So The Lottery is this book where there's this old farm town, and every year everyone in the town has to gather together and they pull straws essentially. And the one with the short straw has to be stoned by the entire town so that they have a good harvest.
It's like a sacrifice?
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, I mean, could you imagine a bunch of best friends? Like, it's like there's no enemies on a team, and they're like, okay, now you guys decide amongst each other who's going in. Could you imagine that? If like that would be so bad.
Yeah, and again, like those like fights and those situations would have so much more like consequences outside. Because again, this whole thing has been vendettas. These people don't typically like each other, although it's probably played up to some extent. But if it's your best friend that like you're getting close and you screw them out of, $500,000.
If I screwed Ashley over, I wouldn't be able to work ever again with the chinos. Like, and she would do it in a second. So Amanda, all of them, I couldn't even. I would not. I would die.
All right. Well, MTV, you heard it here first. Best friend season.
We're basically on what, like Rivals 8 or something now.
Yeah, something like that.
I know.
So there has to be some sort of new approach. Look, I enjoy watching as much as anyone, but it would be good to see some sort of crazy thing we've never seen before.
Well, and we're not going to get into it, but apparently the next season's going to go in a different direction. Which
God, I am hoping for a change, but we'll see. Yeah, it is what it is.
It is interesting. Like this, how do you feel about one, the new shows coming in? Because again, you're old school, you're Road Rules, and MTV obviously doesn't have that anymore. They don't have the Real World going on currently right now, so I get they have to pull in from other shows, but I think one of the questions on Reddit was something along the lines of, you came out of Road Rules, which is kind of like a social experiment, doing daily type things, and it wasn't like a dating show or something like that. Like, it was kind of setting you up for this. Do you think MTV should try to like reboot those types of shows, or do you think they wouldn't work now?
I don't. Well, I've heard that they are rebooting it for the streaming service. Honestly,
yeah,
so
and
I've heard that
Marie brought up like a streaming thing, but she didn't get into too much detail about it.
Yeah, so I've heard that their MTV is investing in a streaming service, and I do believe that all of the old shows are going to be on that.
Okay.
In addition, they're going to release. We've already heard that they're releasing Real World on the streaming service. So
I knew that was getting rebooted. I just didn't know about Road Rules.
yeah, Road Rules. So Road Rules, what happened was Road Rules was the precursor to the challenge, and so the first challenge was Road Rules All Stars, which was Real World Kids and Road Rules Kids doing Road Rules all together.
Yep.
And then it became a challenge. So the challenge cannibalized this show, Road Rules. I don't mind them rebooting the show. I think it would be great, but you know what? It's been done. They could do something different. They tried to reboot it. I was a part of the reboot, and it didn't work. A lot of the reasons why it didn't work weren't because of the reboot. It was like production-wise, it was just a very bad show. So, anyways, they could try and do it the right way.
Yeah.
I don't mind the new kids coming on the show. I'm not an old man who's like, I'm not Johnny, and I don't resent the fact that these new and younger kids are coming in. In fact, I appreciate that they're not pulling from Are You the One, because most of my best friends on the show now are You the One kids, but a lot of the Are You the One kids that aren't my best friends, I don't think that they're that interesting, and they don't tell very good stories. And I honestly think Davon and Jose and Pauly are great additions from Big Brother. So I think more people like that are great for the challenge. And so I'm like, the more the merrier, but I do believe that they cater to specific cast members. Johnny and Cara get asked. I don't think people are that interested in Johnny and Cara's story anymore, yet they keep getting asked back. And it's just, I don't understand that. Like I don't want them to choose me, but I think that there's other people they could choose and focus their time and tell their stories, and it would be just as compelling. But
I'm pretty, I guess maybe on the record, I'm not sold on if I like the Big Brother people coming over.
They've brought in a lot of entertainment for this season so far.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pauly has proven to be like everybody's favorite villain.
I don't like Pauly.
Everybody loves to hate him.
I just don't like him. And it's not like in a way that to me is like funny or entertaining. It's just like, I just don't. And I know that's like, you need that for a good show. You need someone that people root against. Like, I get it. But I don't know. That's just me personally. I never really liked his vibe on the show. But again, I'm biased. I didn't like the Are You the One kids when they came over.
But what you said a minute ago about Johnny and Cara's stories being kind of played out, I really agree with that. I think they have to retire from the challenge at some point.
Just take one off.
It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah. But they don't. No one's going to take it off. You have to just not cast them. That's the problem. Here's the thing. Let's just talk about Pauly real quick, because Pauly is great. He's getting this weird edit right now.
Okay.
And he wasn't great when he was great, and then I think that the problem with the Big Brother kids at first, it takes people a little bit to fall into the rhythm of everything.
Yeah.
Especially for me, I'm so used to it. It's hard for me sometimes to realize how intimidating the group of us are. And it is intimidating. From the moment we get together, you're even though those of us that hate each other or dislike each other, we do know so many intimate, we've shared so many things that
It's like a weird family.
Yes, yes, exactly. And so it's this big family getting together, and then it's this group of you sitting on the outside. And it takes a bit to get used to, and I think it took Pauly a little bit to fall into step, but he will fall into step later in the season, and it will be less like, what the f*** is this guy on? Versus it'll be like a lot more relatable, I hope.
Okay.
But in real life, he's a great guy. Like, he's probably one of my favorite people.
I just know he had a reputation coming out of Big Brother where people, like, before the season started, I didn't know anything about him, but I just probably read it or something. It was like, oh, I never liked that guy in Big Brother. And I was like, well, I don't know anything about him. But again, it could just be he kind of plays into that role. One of my favorite people on the show in general was Wes. And, we watched his Real World season, and then I loved him on the show. I don't know how you feel about him, but...
I love Wes.
Okay, yeah,
in real life.
He was one of my favorite people, and he played into that role completely. Like he loved to go against, the Johnny Evan Kinney guys and all that. And so even CT, but I like people who play it different, but I don't know. Something about Pauly just rubbed me the wrong way.
The thing that I want to see personally from Pauly, because I've actually enjoyed.
Oh my God, Jake! I forgot you were here.
Are you kidding me? Come on, no, but I've enjoyed Pauly's camera time because I think it has been great from an entertainment perspective. There has to be that guy that plays a great heel role. To reference wrestling again, the thing I want to see him do is actually capitalize on everything he's saying, because he's lost two eliminations now. Hasn't really done much, and he's talking really big. So I'm on board with him coming through on some of these threats and all this stuff. I want to see that. I want to see Pauly do what he says he's going to do.
I want you to too. Let me say that. I think Pauly is going to shine when he gets to not be saddled with Natalie.
Oh yeah, she's clearly like the weak link on that.
Yeah. You know what's great about Pauly though? He never turns on her, and he didn't in real life. Like that, and that's something that people need to remember. That was kind of endearing. Is like he could have easily cussed her out and done, God knows what, and he didn't.
Well,
so.
I mean, again, at that point, they're these two outsiders coming into a big, family dynamic. If they cannibalize each other, then they have nothing.
They're screwed. Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
So we got into Wes, and this was one interesting Reddit comment, and I had heard about briefly on Wes's Challenge Mania interview.
You want to hear about?
I want to hear about the fight where he came to your aid.
Defense.
Yeah.
So so first of all, so many people will be happy that I got punched randomly, and there's
what year was this?
This was just this past year.
Oh wow!
It was during Champs vs Stars. Listen, I actually did not harass this person. People are like, I'm sure you popped his mouth off and stuff like that. No, I did not. We were out. So what happens when you go to a bar with cast members is one or two, you're fine. And then once you start getting more and more of us, it's like one or two, some people will recognize you. Some of us, we have such distinct features, or there's something that we've done that's distinctly memorable, we get more recognized than other people. But once you add a group of us together, so 3 or higher, people will recognize us. And
it
so
becomes like a show at that point. Like people are going to see something's happening. It becomes kind of dangerous a little bit. Like, especially in college, I had a hard time with this. Was like I would just leave bars by 1:00 because what happens is the guys get jealous of the attention from the girls, and then the girls get jealous because the girls that we're with are usually hot. So then these girls get drunk and they think the girls are sluts, and so it always turns into a bar fight. So it was too many of us in this small biker bar. And why were you in a biker bar?
It was just like a bar by our hotel or something. It wasn't necessarily a biker bar, but it was like a different night. We got a knife pulled on us, so we just started calling it the biker bar. Ashley did, because she was wearing this biker chick called Ashley a whore, and then the guys got a knife pulled on them. So before this happened,
oh wow,
yeah, before this happened, I danced with it was crowded, and I danced with this girl that was next to us. And then me and Anissa walked out to smoke a cigarette, and he came out of nowhere and sucker punched me. And I remembered him when I was dancing with a girl. I remember him looking at me, and now looking back, I think he was shaking his fist, and his friends were holding him back. But I didn't pay attention to it because I just thought it was something not even related to what I was doing. So I think I danced with this guy's girlfriend. And so I had walked out to smoke a cigarette, and he just came out of nowhere, sucker punched me. And Wes was walking out to talk to us. The bouncers had tried to block the scene, and there was this sort of chest high sort of fencing around the patio area. And so Wes just stood on a chair, started jumping from table to table, and just jumped over the fencing and tackled the guy. And so,
Holy
it was
crap.
crazy. It was cool.
Did the cops get involved or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, the cops got involved. And then so I started, there was, I was a show too. I mean, we were all blackout drunk. So the cop showed up. The guy was immediately arrested. I wanted to press charges, and the cop didn't want me to. And I was like,
Why?
What's wrong with?
Yeah.
Because paperwork, and he was like, well, you have to come back to court, and you don't live here, and all that sort of stuff, But I think it was more paperwork. And so Anissa looks, because she's not a big drinker. In fact, I don't think she drinks at all. She looked at me and Wes, and she was like, you guys need to go because you're about to get arrested. And so Wes disappeared, and then I walked to the bar where everyone else was, and I was drinking, and I had a bloody nose and a busted lip, and the bartender was like, I think you need to go home, dude. So
So you didn't have to go to the hospital or anything like that.
I didn't know, but I was filming Champs for Stars. I heal, this is crazy about my body, but I heal really, really quickly.
Like Wolverine?
And so it kind of, I don't know what it is. But so I had this huge busted lip and a cut down my face, and they were like, how are we going to film you? How do we explain this? And I looked at them and was like, I promise you in 2 days, you won't even know that I got in a fight. And it was, I'm not even lying to you. It was like I went to sleep and I woke up and I was healed, and they're like, you weren't lying. And I was like, I know it's crazy, but it's been my whole life. I just heal really
You're an
quickly.
X-Men. You and Brad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I knew he briefly mentioned it, but I figured it was this was going to be years ago, back some old season. I didn't know it was last year.
no, it was during Champs for Stars.
That's
in
really
fact,
funny.
I posted a picture of me working out the next day or 2 days later at a CrossFit gym, and Johnny wrote, nice herpes sore, Shane, way to take a picture. And I was like, Johnny, it's a broken lip from Champs for Stars. You're so crazy. But anyways, yeah.
Well, I like when challengers are really friends outside of the show.
Yeah. I do too.
Especially
they're my best friends, some of them.
Especially ones like that, where I don't think you and Wes necessarily ever teamed up to go after Johnny or something that I remember. I mean, you may have. Again, these seasons kind of run together at some point.
No, I was never on a show with Johnny until till we just started.
Oh, really?
Until I came back.
That seems crazy to me.
Wes's first show was my last show.
That's right,
before
Fresh
my
Meat.
break, which was Fresh Meat 1. Yeah.
Yeah, we had somebody asked if you ever talked to, is it Lynette?
No, Lynette, we talked for a few years, but then it fell to the side. So
We watched that one not too long ago, but I don't even remember her, if I'm being honest.
I don't barely remember myself from that show.
I remember you being on it. That was one of the last 30-minute seasons.
It was the end of the day. It was that season, I believe, is the end of the golden era. That's the end of it, and then it becomes the Johnny Evan Kinney era after that.
So I'm biased, and Jake probably is too, because those were the seasons that we really got into and watched. I had seen some of the ones before that, but not I made it part of my every week to make sure that I get out and watch them. I just kind of caught them when they were on.
I was a fan too. It was my favorite show. It was a dream of mine to be on it, and I feel so blessed that I was and am. I definitely feel like a piece of history, and I'm a fan of the show more than a cast member. That's the truth.
It's crazy going back and watching those, though. There's times have obviously changed even over the past 15, 20 years. And you go back and watch some of those now, back in the mid to late 2000s, just some of the things that would come out of people's mouths is just bizarre to hear now. I have an autistic little brother, right? And so
yeah, you can. The R word is so bad,
right? And it was
dropped
just
it a lot
all
back
the
then.
time, and would say it in such a devastating way towards people, and it's almost difficult to go back and watch those. It's just uncomfortable to hear that stuff now, and so. It's good to see that people have come around to be more sensitive about some things, and it's just real uncomfortable to hear some of that stuff going back now.
Yeah, we had recently gone back and watched one of the really, really older seasons that MTV still has put up, and I think it was either Johnny
and Kenny both did a lot on the island.
That said it, and I looked at Zach and I said, they would not be able to say that on here these days.
Yeah, it you have to think about it is a reflection of society at the time, and
yeah, because
you even think about the things that if you think about drunken hookups and how you can't like there's so many things that have happened on that show that just based on society today, like would not fly when it comes to just the hookups and the filming of the hookups and the talking of the hookups. Like that alone, that's the way that people perceive that has changed 100%. So that I just can't even imagine that part, much less the language and the way that people treat people and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
It is.
It's interesting. I'll give you an example for me. Like
Okay.
when I first came back and I was doing Invasion, I got into this huge fight with Nicole, and they were like at the end of the fight the next day, I got pulled to the side and I had to sign some paperwork, and AMTV executives had to talk to me, and I like looked at the producer, this girl Emer, and I was like, has something happened that I don't know about? And she was like, yeah, you're not allowed to fight on the show anymore. And I'm like, what?
Was it physical?
No, not physical, but like a verbal sparring match. But it was like the fact that I was a boy and she was a girl and she didn't feel safe. And I was like, I remember being like, I mean, I get that, but I was like, back on my show, like boys and girls argued all the time.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a big deal. Like, and that's when she was like, well, now there's the Camilla Tony. And it was like, I got this whole history of like, of how things have changed. And I was like, well, I didn't realize that. This is boring.
Yeah.
This is why I'm here.
I guess I hadn't noticed in the last couple seasons, you don't see a lot of guys and girls getting in fights together.
Well, except for Shane and Davon.
Yeah, except
Exactly.
for Shane
Well,
and
no,
Davon.
I'm the. It's see. This is something else. I think chivalry is it's anti-feminist first of all. So that's why I'm always like, you don't fight with girls. Why don't you fight with girls? Like girls are humans too. Like you can have an argument with someone. Like it's like, why would I treat someone differently? That means that I think that they're held to a different standard. They need protection, and that means that I think they're unequal. So I am going to argue with a girl or a boy. I think we're all equal here. In addition to that, chivalry is what got Cam and Kaylee the win on the mission we had to dig out. Like, so no one was willing to say no, not that I wanted Cam and Kaylee to lose, because I didn't, because they're people that I'm aligned with.
Yeah.
But you have to, like, we're playing a game for $1 million. There's a certain point where you need to step chivalry down to the side and worry about winning $1 million.
And it's winner take all, right, this year? Well,
the winning team.
Yeah.
The winning team. Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about your guy Nelson for a second.
Okay.
When you
Am I talking to? I feel like I'm boring you guys.
No.
No.
I'm boring you. I'm so
We're
sorry.
having
not
a
at
lot
all.
of fun.
man, this
Okay,
is
good.
your show tonight. We want to hear from you. The people want to hear from you. So this is all you, man.
Some people may be listening because they hate you, which is fine.
That's okay.
But you get the call, you get casted, and at some point you find out Nelson is your teammate.
Yeah.
When you hear that, what is the initial response? Are we indifferent about it? Are we shrugging our shoulders at it?
Oh my god, I'm laughing hysterically because Nelson had spent, we're together for almost a week before we start filming. At least for this show in particular, because it was 2 days of travel and then we were in a hotel for 3 days. So before we even started, because they wanted us to get acclimated to everything. So he had spent the entire time in the hotel telling no one to trust me. So when he got partnered with me, I mean, I was so like, I love when I love when people are upset. I'm so perverse. It's like a sad thing, but it's like I giggle to myself when someone gets me with a good zinger or a good like one-liner. That's why I like Johnny. Like I think I love when Johnny roasts me because it's funny. Like I don't take it personally. So like I thought it was like such a great zinger by God that Nelson spent so much time telling all these people not to trust me, and then he's stuck with me.
That's hilarious.
So that's good. I will say also like Nelson and I did really connect. I really connected strongly to Nelson on Invasion. And what happened was on Invasion, there was a part when the logs were rolling and we were doing the rolling log challenge and everyone was together. And he had pulled me to the side while we were having lunch, so we weren't being filmed. And he said to me, he's like, Jenna and Nicole want me to come over to leave the alliance that we were in and go over to their alliance and work with them. What do you think? He was essentially asking me if I was going to move to this alliance with them and just leave our alliance behind. And I looked at him and I was like, Nelson, you're crazy. We have the numbers. The reason why they're trying to pull you over is because they know they're on the outs. Like, it's not to your benefit to do that. And at the end of the day, because his main reason was, he's like, if we go to the stronger side, we'll be stronger at the end. And that's when I said, Nelson, I've played this game before. It's not going to be you as a team when we get to the end. It's going to be you by yourself. So you want to stay with me and people you think you can beat versus go over there because you have a higher chance of winning. Right after that happened is when Nicole and I made the side bet that she wouldn't choose me if she won and I wouldn't choose her if she won. So it was when she chose him, it was like I double snaked him because we had that private conversation and I told him not to do anything with them. And then I went and did something with them. And that's why he was so upset about it. But I never knew that she was going to target him. Uh-huh. And so that's why it hurt me personally to lose a good relationship with someone that I liked. And I really liked Nelson. So when we got paired up together, I was like, okay, maybe this is a chance we can repair this thing that's been damaged. So I was happy, even though I kind of thought it was funny that.
So through your partnership with each other this season, have you guys been able to kind of patch things up and be friends again? Kind of, sort of? Or did it go completely the opposite direction?
The way that you're like hesitated and like doing this like nervous laugh is really funny.
I mean, you see it. I think that Nelson is there for me. He might not understand me.
He did not understand this past week. As soon as you're like, I'm going to throw it, he's like, what? We're not doing that.
He was frustrated.
He's frustrated, yeah.
So frustrating.
Listen, when this is all done, we can do another podcast. And
okay.
I have so much I can tell you.
We should bring you and Marie back on together.
Absolutely.
Oh, that'd be
but
so
Marie
much fun.
You good luck trying to. We'll probably start fighting. But yeah, see, I think we're at the place where Nelson and I are tolerating each other, and I will say that it gets better and then it gets worse.
Okay.
And so you just gotta wait for it. But I think we're one of the true vendettas that actually are vendettas while on the show. Like, everyone else is kind of like, oh, I think I dislike them, but I get along with them, and me and Nelson are still like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it was funny. I think Marie said on Twitter that, going back to this last episode, that your team wasn't going to win regardless. That they had two extra players and they could only tackle the same gender, and so like you guys were clearly at a disadvantage anyway. It's just funny to see you kind of like fake lead blocking for them and then like sitting around and I guess I just didn't understand the rules. I don't know.
I'm glad you brought this up because I definitely wanted to speak about this real quick, and this is why so many people are mad at me. Like,
oh yeah, there was a lot of people mad at you.
You could sabotage, but you should at least make it secretive. Here's the deal. I wanted those to know that I was them over. Like, I had so much disdain. I was so, you don't understand, like Jozea and Devon had been walking around like I was an idiot, like their didn't stink, like I couldn't pull off anything. And so in my head I was like, the second that I get a chance to actually Geppetto something, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it. So it is my personality. The people on Reddit who go like, oh, she just has to show off. They're exactly right. Yeah, that's kiss my ass. That's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to dip my balls in your face while you were sleeping and then moon you. And that's what I did. Like, that's why I did it the way I did it.
I think it was so entertaining and so funny that
you
just, it was so blatant and just without a care in the world, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah, at one point you broke like the fourth wall and kind of just winked at the camera while you're sitting down.
Oh yeah, we ate that up.
Well, yeah, I knew that they knew what was going on, so I knew why they were following me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely, and this is why, Jake, I appreciate you, because at the end of the day, like, I don't do this in my day-to-day life to my friends or my family or anyone else. But yeah, for the TV show, I know my role and I know where we're going with this. And so if I get a chance to play into my role, then I'm going to. And that's what I was doing. Like, it's not, I wasn't just doing this for TV. I was doing it to win $1 million. But I also was doing it because it was funny. And that was the intention. And I'm glad you enjoyed it.
And it was so funny.
Well, that's why you and Nelson are one of the more entertaining teams on the show, right? Is because Nelson's kind of wanting to play straight up. He wants to win the game. He's competitive. And you're over here, trying to play it the right way,
strategically,
but you're not letting it get to you. And he's over here just flustered. Like, I can just see Nelson off camera, like, please, man, don't do it, please, don't do it.
He was so mad. He was so mad.
So I would have
so mad.
I would have been mad if I was on your team, if I was like Johnny or Tony or whatever. But like, all right, I stuck up for you on Reddit because we talked about it on the show. You had the best line of the night. At the end of the day, you're like, I'm not on any of your team except for Nelson. Like, this is a daily that only counts for like right now. And so these people don't care about you at all.
It counts for pride.
Yeah.
It counts for pride. And people have to remember, Johnny me over. I helped a team win on Vendettas. They said that we were all safe. And the second that we chose the captains, Nicole was like, you're going in, I'm going for you. So I had learned my lesson on that. And on Vendettas, I tried to play a nice game. I tried to be a nice guy. And it got me nowhere. And it was embarrassing. I came home. I was mad about the show. It was uninteresting. I was like, how dare you do this to yourself? And I was like, you're going to go on this next show and you're going to be yourself. And you're going to do everything you can to win. And you're going to play the game your way. We got to play the cards we're dealt. And I'm not the strongest player, but I've got weird backhand deals with people. I've got weird alliances with people. And I can outthink the rules. So that's how I play the game. And that's how I want to play the game. So it is what it is. And what was I going to say? Oh, man, I lost my train of thought with that. Oh, so second, they thought that this is the best part. This didn't make the show, but like, we're sitting there and we're having a team huddle and they're like, and you'll do this and you'll do that. And we're going to do this and we're going to be a team. And I'm in the back of my head there. I'm thinking, how dumb do these people think that I am? Like, really? Like, I'm going to help you? No, no. So like, it was part of this whole, like, no, I'm going to piss you off and I'm going to enjoy every minute of it. So that's that. Yeah.
You really did look like you were just enjoying it.
Oh my God. I was so and leading into the like, so when we show up, we wait hours sometimes before we actually get to film the challenge. And so I actually was specifically already annoyed at Jozea just on a personal reason, because we have what's called a talent coordinator. The talent coordinator is the production person who's in charge of us. And we're not supposed to talk to production, but we all do, especially because some of us have worked with these people so many years. Yeah. Like, they know them better than any of us. So the talent coordinator sits in her car and so I get off the bus, everyone's on the bus. I get off the bus and I go to the talent coordinator and I'm like, hey, because her name's Agustina. She's from Argentina. And I'm like, can you play, can we just listen to some Latina music while we're chilling here? So she was playing my favorite songs. I was listening to Dura. I was listening to Pitbull. I mean, I was having a blast. And then the Jose had heard, so the Lavender Ladies came out and we were having a dance party. And so then Jose heard that I was getting to listen to music, which is a no-no. We barely get to listen to music. So he comes over and he's like, can you play my single? And so we listened to his single for an hour.
One song?
Like, yes, over and over and over again. Wow. And so I was livid because I was having a dance party with my friends, and then I had to listen. I didn't have to listen to it once. I had to listen to it so many times.
That's like so, 20 times.
It's torture. Have you heard the song?
We listened
the French horn. Once the French horn is in your head, it never goes away.
You're not a fan of the French horn.
Yeah, no, I love horns and songs. Like, listen, I want a good saxophone, not necessarily a French horn. So Jason Derulo, there, I'm good. But so that's why I was like, yeah, I heard your single. And I was specifically referring to an hour earlier when he wouldn't stop playing it.
What was that? The Tony Montana song that just came out?
Yeah, it's
okay.
the same song.
It's
yeah,
not.
it's the same song.
So had you
It was the song. It was the same one.
so had you not heard it prior to doing like your little confessional thing where they kind of
No, I'm like, no. So I had heard the song by the confessional. So, but no. It's not a song. It's a good song for a person who is on a reality TV show. Like, is it a good song for Rihanna? No. Like, no. But for
That's what I was telling
I've
you.
heard.
It's not for me.
Yeah. It's never going to be a great song. Let's be honest. But it's not a bad song. Like, I've heard some bad songs. It's not terrible. So, but at the time, so it's not a song, but so that's why I was like, it's okay, I guess. Anyways, I'm all over the place with that one. Yeah. So I'd heard the song. I knew it wasn't completely, but I purposely was fighting with him. And I'm like, I'm not going to say that your song's good right now. I'm just trying to hurt you and insult you in any way that I can. And get away.
Well, I think any song after an hour of the same thing over and over again, you're going to say,
oh my God, I wanted to die. Oh.
It's like when you have that same alarm sound set every morning, especially back in the day when you could have ringtone set. Yeah. That song, and you hate it after a week. But so you possibly don't think that he has a music career ahead of him.
No, the only reason why he released that song is so that he has a storyline for Love and Hip Hop. But
I didn't know he
was. Maybe.
I don't keep up with him.
Yeah. I don't. It's like on it. So the reunion he was talking about that he was going to stop.
That was the Champs one, right?
That was Champs for Stars. That was that reunion.
And
so
it didn't
if everyone
happen.
wants to know, it did not happen. It didn't happen at all.
Well, speaking of reunions, this past week, someone else threatened you about a reunion.
Oh, the cousin's coming, right?
Yeah, Davon.
Yeah. That's so. It's like, I mean,
and it got deleted real quick.
Oh yeah, it sure did. I got the screenshots though. That's for sure. Well, first of all, the studio audience is actually cast people, so they are super fans that get casted.
Oh,
it's not
okay.
You have to go through a casting process, so it's not going to be your
that.
cousin. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's a TV show. We're filming a TV show. She was mad because I released my cameo, which is me saying like, I'll cuss you out, I'll call you a pathetic, I'll do whatever you want, So she really thought that, or I don't know what she wanted or thought, but it seemed that she really wanted me to get beaten down by the Twitter thugs. And so I kind of like to see me as a phoenix rising from the ashes of this scenario that she had played in her head. It just irritated her. And so that's what happens when people don't get their way, they resort to violence. And so I thought it was kind of sad. It's like, because I think better of her and I think she's a stronger person. And so I was like, whatever, man. It is what it is. It's not. Once you get to that level, it goes to the lawyers at MTV. So good luck.
Yeah, she did say after, she's like, I've never gotten an email that fast. So I assumed, somebody saw it and was like, oh my God. Is there someone that like their whole job is like, I gotta watch Twitter all day long to see what these people are saying?
I mean, there must be, because you wouldn't believe the stuff that gets us in trouble.
Have you gotten in trouble recently?
Yeah.
Can you talk about it or no?
I'm trying to think. I mean, Natalie is the one that I got most in trouble with recently. So I can't talk about it because the person it ended up being me and a bunch of people at MTV kind of making fun of the situation. So I'm not supposed to talk about it because she's not supposed to know that we were all laughing at her.
Did you get in trouble for changing your picture to Kyle and all that?
Oh no!
Oh, that was hilarious.
That was really mean though too.
But it made my life so much happier.
I was on a tear that night. I had been up. So you don't understand. Marie is my trigger point, and so Marie and I are so close and so tight. When people, and Marie knows this, she constantly uses this to her advantage. But whenever somebody hurts her, she'll call me, and then she'll tell me the story about it, and then she'll just wait. And so, like clockwork,
You're like a
I'll
bomb.
sit and I'll stew on it, and then I come right back. And so what happened was Marie had called me. And she was crying about the fact that Kyle called her fake on television. And I got a little bit tipsy. And 5 hours later, 10 hours later, I just went for it on the internet. And then Veronica actually is the first person that called me. And she was like, called me like 8 a.m. And she was like, wake up, get on your Twitter. And I'm like, what? And she's like, what did you do last night? And I'm like, what? She's like, Jimmy has been blowing me up. And so I'm like looking at the Twitter and I was like, oh, I should take some of this down. And so then I fall back asleep. And then I get another call. And it's production from B&M and Murray. And they're like, Shane, have you seen your Twitter? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, okay, what is going on? And I was like, nothing. And they're like, what are you're in the middle of filming a show right now. Do we need to get, like, they wanted me to talk about it on camera just so that they'd have it on camera. And I was like, no, I'm going to take some more down. So then I took some more down. And then everyone started waking up. And that's when I realized, then I sobered up at like 2 p.m. And I was like, oh my God, I got to take all of this down. Like, what is wrong with me? So it's all Marie's fault. I blame Marie, and that's that.
Well, I'm kind of glad that she did it because that was so funny.
It was. Go for it. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say she knows that, like, she knows what your triggers are, but she doesn't want to act on it, and so she's like, I'll just plant this seed in Shane and then wait for it to grow.
Really good. Well, that's what happened between me and Natalie. Like, it's like when people attack Marie, and the reason why is it's like Marie is just as vicious as I am, but Marie is also, I think that I've gotten a little bit better at handling the fact that people don't like me. Marie is actually really sensitive, and she really is a wonderful person. And there's specific people on the show who just have never given her a chance. And so I hear when she's hurt by that. And so for me, it's like, oh, well, you hurt my friend Marie, then I'm going to hurt you. So
well, yeah,
I gotta stop it.
I told her, I was like, I wasn't the biggest fan of hers before we sat down and talked with her, just because I was like, I don't really know what you do and on the show. And once we got to know her, like, she's great. Like, she really was.
We love her.
Yeah. And like, we got along great. I think we would like hang out in real life. And she's the one who told us, if you get along with me, you can get along with Shane. And so again, it worked out. And she talked to us about she did the real world and then immediately went into the challenge and then saw herself on TV and kind of had to reevaluate things and. Like, do I want people just like tearing down everything they see about me? And it is a weird paradigm shift, but I mean, you've been doing it since you were like 20 years old, so
yeah, I don't even know.
You're a little bit more jaded to it, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have because I could talk all night long, but I doubt your listeners, want to listen to us all night long. So let's have a good last 10 minutes, and then
sure.
Let's call it a good one.
What's up?
Go for it.
No, you.
Is that Jake? Is Jake about to talk?
He was about to.
Jake's voice is one of my favorite parts of the podcast. So.
Do you really hear George W. when you hear me talk?
100%. You sound like a young version of him. I mean, you don't sound like the old sort of version of him, but your accent is the same accent as George
That's
W.'s.
what I said.
You have to remember, he's from East Texas.
Yeah.
And you must be from the part of Tennessee that's close to Louisiana.
We're West Tennessee, so right above Mississippi and all that.
Is that near Louisiana?
Not too far.
We're the
Okay,
closest. We are the closest section of the state of Tennessee to Louisiana. Because we could get to New Orleans in a 4 to 5 hour drive.
Okay, well, we'll leave it at that. So you guys, you share, I guess you share, what is it called? I don't remember.
Dialect.
Not pheromone. Yeah, dialect.
Did you say pheromones?
It's not pheromones. It's phenomes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Phenomes that are distinct. So that's what it is. You do sound like them to me.
So
yeah.
are you a fan of George W.?
Was that your
No.
question?
No? Well, then I don't know that this is a good thing for me then. And I don't
No,
really know what to do about it.
I think that your image of George W. is this old man, but you have to remember at one time George W. was this cocaine sort of
DUI getting
devil may care. He was quite the charming troublemaker, and that's the version that you sound like. So
Got it. Well, let me ask you this, because when you came back to the challenge, you got into CrossFit, correct?
I did.
Can-
I suggest it to anyone who
Okay.
wants to work out. That's
You,
right, because you lost a lot of weight recently. Congratulations.
well, I lost
Right?
I lost a lot
you-
of weight like 10 years ago.
Because
But
I
it was-
remember you saying you were going to the beach and you were happy you could take your shirt off. or
yeah.
something.
So I did need to trim some fat off.
One time we went to the beach like 10 years ago, and we were in the pool and we were just like hanging out, and this like 8-year-old little girl just like wandered up to him, and he had long hair then, and she's like, "Are you a boy or a girl?"
Why do you? She asked me why I didn't have a shirt.
Yeah, she's
on.
like, "Why don't you have a shirt on?" And we're like, "What?"
Holy cow!
All right. So my question going into that.
So are we saying that you had boobies? Is that what I just
He really
heard?
didn't.
I didn't. I mean,
Yeah.
I was a chunky kid, but no.
Yeah, it was weird. He was mostly like leg mass.
Yeah.
Well, how old were you?
17,
Yeah.
18, somewhere in there.
And Zachary, you're
Yeah.
over there slipping in on the youngins. I have the same problem.
She's
Definitely-
6 years younger than me.
6.5.
Yeah.
I thought
You're
okay,
pushing it, bud.
trouble. I go for the same age, but there's a much bigger age difference. That's all I'll say.
Well, yeah, you're 7 years older than me, I think. I'll be 30 in a month or so.
Yeah, so I'm 7. Yeah.
All right, so the CrossFit thing. So
Yep.
I'm kind of a gym rat myself. I love it. It's a good release for me, emotionally, mentally, physically. I have tried to get my guy Zach to start working out with me, and
I used to, and I haven't in the last couple years.
he quit after like a week.
Because I hated the gym we were at.
Hannah, I'm sorry. That sucks for you.
It's
Well, she
okay.
doesn't either.
I-
Neither one of us are.
Yeah, but I mean, at least I do like physical activities and stuff.
Okay.
I think
okay.
I think it would be healthy for you if you went to the gym with Jake.
I don't like where he was going.
You know what? Sometimes I just need a friend in the gym. So Shane, do you have any sort of wisdom you can pass on to Zach as to why it would be a good thing to get in the gym with his buddy Jake?
Well, first of all, gay sex. Come on. Best place is the gym. No. No. So the reason why I personally like CrossFit is it's not for everyone, but it couldn't be for you. The ways that it is for you is you have to find a good gym that's not douchey. And it's actually, most gyms don't survive if they are douchey. So if they've survived at this point, they're probably pretty cool. But it's really like a PE class. It's one of the best, healthiest community things that I've ever done for myself, because when you get to be our age, the really only things that people do together is eat or drink, and this is something that you can do that is not either of those things, and you actually develop really strong bonds with the people that are part of your gym in ways that you just don't expect. It just happens naturally. It's very real. In addition to that, it's once I started CrossFit, I'd never had to think about my workout again. So I never thought about what I ate. I never thought about today's an arm day, today's a leg day, today's a back day. Like that just gets exhausting. You feel like you're a
Yes,
hamster on a
that's
hamster
what I
wheel,
felt like.
and you never have what you want. You never get what you want. When I started doing CrossFit, it took 6 months, right? But I remember there was a point where I just stopped caring about what I ate because I felt so strong. And it didn't matter what I looked like, because my body, even not being physically perfect, like I didn't have the six pack or whatever, but my body was just the right shape because it had become masculinized, because I was a man doing activities that created this sort of body that carried the weight the way that it was supposed to. So I would suggest to you, if you do care about your image, and you should, and this is what I say to my nephew, there's a ton of people talk all the time about investing money and like worrying about what's in their bank account. Your body, your image is also a currency. It's social currency. The way that you look, there's value to that, and it's something that you never spend. So once you invest in that social currency, you always have it, unlike money. So why wouldn't you use something to your advantage that's going to affect you for the rest of
Oh
your
no,
life?
I'm not.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
I'm not against it, and we used to go to the gym a lot, like, and that was more so when I was in college and
I
stuff
didn't
like
know
that.
you then.
Yeah,
I was still in school.
yeah, we used to go a lot, like for years, and then I just got out of the habit of it, and I tried to go back with them, and I just hated the gym, and like what you were saying, like getting back in the routine of, I got to think today is back and biceps and all that. So I might look into
CrossFit is a
that.
lot of fun. I did it with my cousin. He has a CrossFit gym at his house, but they live like an hour and a half away, and so now that I've moved here, I can't do that anymore. So, but CrossFit, I enjoyed it.
I love it. I just think about people are always like, oh, the money. I spend $200 at a bar if I'm being really stupid. So like if I can, and I always manage to make it back. So if I can spend that much money on a weekend out with my friends, then I can spend that much money once a month, like making myself happy. So I love CrossFit. It's that.
Well, I think one of the big questions is how much longer do we have Shane on the challenge for?
Well, I will keep coming back until they don't ask me, and then when they don't ask me, I'm going to find a real job, and I probably won't be back. I want to say, because we talked about all these people who hated me, and I just want to say real quick to the people who love me and appreciate me, the Shaniacs that are out there. I'm so thankful for the fact that people actually get me. They understand my humor. They get that it's a joke. That even though not that the challenge is a joke, but I'm having fun, and these people who take themselves so seriously are the joke. Those people, I'm so thankful for you, and so thank you for being a fan, and thank you for enjoying me, and thank you for listening to, this podcast that's about me and you guys.
You're welcome.
I did have someone today ask on Twitter, can you please ask Shane why he's blocked so many of his followers and none of us know why? This was around the Twitter feud with Natalie, and I love Shane.
I just reached a breaking point with a lot of people. It wasn't actually Natalie; it was the Davon fight. Yeah, and it just like
I don't blame you, honestly. Like I really don't. Like you got to do what you got to do to keep yourself sane.
Exactly. That's it. Like it's like if it was a cast member, I wouldn't block them because I think that the show is carried in conversations on Twitter, and so I think that the fans deserve hey, if we're gonna keep conversing about what's happening, then like for instance, Natalie blocked me and Jose blocked me, but they talk about me on their Twitter, and I think that's just pathetic. Like if I can't respond to the things that you're saying, then why are you saying them, right?
Yeah.
But it's completely different when it's this person who's attacking me because they're a super fan and they support Davon, and it's that stuff. I'm just like, I don't even have time for it. I don't want to deal with it. My life is way too complicated without these things that are not important, and so that's why.
I'm fully on board with that. I don't know how you deal with the amount of weird, negative people coming into your life on a daily basis as it is. So I get it. One quick question before you get out of here.
Yeah.
It seems like everyone but production at this point is dying for old school versus like new school.
New school.
And here's my take on it. I don't know if I've said it on the show or not. I want it like Cutthroat style, where there's like old school, then there's like a middle school quotes, which is like maybe like the Wes, Kenny, those era, and then the new school. Because I think there's a distinct difference between the old school guys and then the new school. There's this like middle group that doesn't really fit into either.
There is, and that's Johnny and Carl.
Yeah, and
yes.
Wes.
Wes is right on the edge of
exactly.
that.
He was almost old school,
But like Frank and Zach.
Well, Frank and I
agree.
Yeah, those guys, like I would love that. And Cutthroat's an interesting style because it was like 3 teams.
That was a good season.
I I wish they would, and it just seems like, I don't know, sometimes it seems they bite on it and then sometimes they don't. I do think that they were very much out with the old and with the new, and then Viacom and CBS merged together, and CBS was like, hey,
I didn't realize that, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, so it happened on Invasion. So
Yeah.
they merged together, and they were like, you had these great cast members that you invested all this time in, and now you're getting rid of them. So you need to pull these old people back onto the show.
Yep.
So that's why Darrell and I ended up back on the show.
That makes sense.
And so now it seems like I don't know what they're going with, but yeah.
The big question I think that it would come down to was, I listened to Landon on Challenge Mania, and he said, the hardest part for some of these older guys or whatever, even, middle ground ones, was they don't tell you where you're going, how long it's going to be, if you're going to be in like a shack like you were on Invasions, and they also don't tell you the money and all that type of stuff. And so I think the hardest part would probably be able to get those older people, and
they don't pay enough.
Yeah,
and there's not enough information.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the problem, and they burned a lot of bridges.
Yep.
They weren't good to a lot of us for a long time. So
last thing, and we're gonna let you out of here.
Cool.
Well,
I get to ask a question of you guys, by the way.
Let's hear it.
What do you think about me as a person versus the guy on the show?
The guy on the show,
honest.
I say, definitely ruthless and very entertaining. Shane in person, about what I
Sweetheart.
expected.
Total sweetheart.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
totally down to earth.
Like, again, you're not a lunatic. Like, you're on the show, you're like, you're playing into it. And what was funny is this past week, you were trying to like make amends with Davon, and you were like, he's lying to her this whole time. Like, we know he is. But again, you understand it's part of the show, it's part of whatever, and at the end of the day, it's just you and Nelson. But again, you wouldn't have as many friendships as you have outside of the show, even with old cast members and all that. Like, again, we may have to cut it out, but you said Darrell was calling you in the middle of this interview.
Yeah.
Like, that wouldn't happen if you were some sort of like psychopath, like sociopath.
That everybody like legitimately hated.
Yeah.
And you know
Yeah,
what?
thank you.
If you'll have us, we consider you a friend too.
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely consider you guys my friends. I mean, I listen to you every week. I hear you.
Which is
I
really
know all about you.
That was like one of the most mind-blowing things to us, because
We
we
couldn't
had never
believe it.
interacted with you at that point.
I thought that you had to know because you spent so much time going over your viewers.
Like, listen.
Oh, let me give you some podcast feedback.
Okay.
All right, Zachary, you are
Yep.
one of the best moderators on all of the podcasts. Like
Thank you.
you really are. But
I knew that was coming.
Hannah and Jake often have really good points, and you push paw them. You're like, oh yes, and it's like, and so you often use your moderator power to diminish their opinion. And I think a better moderator would have them flesh out that opinion versus push it to the side. So that's what I would.
Okay, I'll try to be more cognizant of that. Like, if that is what's
You've
happening,
gotten a lot. You've gotten a
Yeah.
lot better.
We've never.
And you explained it once. You're like, if I don't cut them off, then they'll talk forever, which is true because I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
But
The main thing was
there's been points I was like, I want to hear more. I want to know more.
Well, the main thing is we kind of had discussed as a group, like, we've been like droning on about the same thing over and over, and so. Yeah, I probably did try to take it maybe too far in the other extreme to try to just like get the show moving, because we don't want to do hour and a half recaps or more every week.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not
Like
offended
I just
by
did
it.
to you.
Yeah.
I think what we should do is you should let me be the moderator for one episode.
You should take turns. Yeah,
and
that
then
would be
Jake
great.
should do it.
That's fine. I've been
I don't.
doing
No,
it
no, no,
just
no.
out of-
I don't think Jake gets a chance to be the moderator.
Why not?
Jake is the one that needs the moderation. Like he like.
Jake is the only one of us that has no public speaking or communications background.
But he has great points, but what happens is once Jake gets the lead, he somehow he and Zachary can just go off on a tangent and you're like, what the f- is going on?
It happens all the time.
But in a good way.
Part of that is
It's
we've
part
been
of the
friends for
show.
so long, yeah.
So you're not necessarily a fan of boys' night.
There's no structure there.
Hey,
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, Shane. Boys' Night, which was like our third or fourth episode, for some reason, it is still the most downloaded recap episode.
No,
Yes, it is.
Boys Night is good. I think it's good, but but I enjoy the three of you together.
Yeah, we like
actually,
that dynamic better.
You do a good job. Like it does. You as a podcast, you guys are one of my favorites. Like I enjoy. I think you guys have good point of view. You get more than just what you're seeing on the episode, and I think you guys do a good job. So.
Well, we definitely appreciate that.
I'm your fan.
Again, we started this literally for the first time on July 5th. We've never done anything like this, and we're definitely learning as we go. If we would go back and listen to the first couple episodes, I'm sure we'd be like, man.
The question I wanted to ask you though is everybody seems to be on board with the idea. I think everybody we've talked to loves Nashville, right?
Yeah.
So is there a chance that maybe, because I think Marie was one that was like, I love Nashville.
No, that was Cam.
I like
Was it
Nashville.
Cam?
It was Cam. Yeah.
So
You're talking about the Challenge Mania, having one of those down there.
Oh well, I don't know about that.
just,
Okay, what were you
know
saying? What's your question?
Maybe
I've never been to Nashville.
have you not? What?
No, never.
What are the chances we all have a get together and a good time in
And
Nashville?
get a drink.
Yeah.
If I'm in Nashville, I will let you guys know.
Just let us know. Yeah.
We love Nashville. We
And
go.
if you're in DC, you have to let me know. But I'm not going to go out of my way to go to Tennessee. I just got out of Charleston. I got out of Charleston, South Carolina. I don't. You know what? I'm actually going. Brooke. Okay, so you know Brooke Hogan's like one of my best friends
Yeah.
now. I have to go visit her. I totally forgot I promised her that. So I'm gonna be in Nashville. So
Is
you
she
guys
in
will
Nashville?
know. Yeah, she's back.
I didn't know that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Zachary and I go to Nashville frequently.
So be on the lookout because that's where Brooke lives again.
We didn't know
Okay,
that.
cool.
Well, Shane, again, we appreciate you coming on. We clearly wanted to get you on after this episode because we didn't know what was coming up, but we knew it was called Shameless and something was going to be happening. But yeah, again, before we go, do you want to plug anything? Your social media? You putting out a mixtape, a single of your own? What are you doing?
A diss track.
Yeah. Well, I definitely, you guys go support Jozea. Go check out his single Tony Montana. Download it. Give him some money. We all need business. Like there's room for all of us to be successful here. Yeah, right. And then, in addition to that, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Shenanity, like insanity. It's Shenanity because I'm insane. So
Yeah, I got it wrong.
Yeah, right.
I kind of combined like
talk about it once.
I kind of combined it to like Sean Hannity.
Yeah, I remember when you were talking about that. So it's SHANNANITY, and it's the same for my Instagram. You should follow my Instagram if you follow anything, because I do IG stories with Nicole Ramos every Wednesday at 3 p.m.
And Marie, you did one with Marie.
I do it with Marie when Nicole can't do it. Yep. Yeah. So Marie and I do them randomly. Marie and I are hard because we butt heads so many times in conversation. So it's something we should just keep to ourselves. Like, we don't need people to see that.
Well,
But
again,
yeah, that's that.
Well, we
Thank you, guys.
appreciate you coming on. As the season kind of winds down, we may try to get maybe you and Marie back on together and see if you guys make something explode or she causes you to go
In Shane.
on a drunken Twitter rampage against somebody or something. But again, we appreciate you coming on. And
We feel like we've made a friend.
Yeah,
Me
for
too.
sure.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
I had a
Shane.
good time.